I'm still in shock, to be honest. I mean, I'm numb. So it really hasn't hit me. And I don't believe any parent should ever have to bury their child. And I pray that, maybe there's changes made as far as security or things like that. And maybe we can learn from this and try to turn a tragedy into something positive to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else's child. I don't want parents to feel like I feel today. So I've already forgiven the person who stabbed him. God's going to take care of everything. God's taking care of my son. I kissed him. When I kissed him goodbye for the last time, I told him it's not goodbye, it's see you later.
He's been raised in a two-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do.
I'm going to say this again, and this is for everybody. Black people in America, while the current occupant sits at 1600 Pennsylvania, black people in America don't have to pull the race card. It's what we live as a reality every day.
We don't have to pull a race card, but I'm about to pull the race card. It happens to us every day. I thought you didn't have to pull the race card. You just literally said 5 seconds before you then pull the race card.
Then you did it. Okay, so someone wrote us and said that they said, why did you guys have not talked about the Carmelo Anthony and the Austin Metcalf situation? And really the only reason why is because things are always developing and we like to get all the information that we can, although not all the information is even in, but we hate talking about things immediately without having at least some type of facts and things like that, or what's going on. So that's why we have it. And right now, so obviously it's a developing situation. It's really horrible. But yeah, but that's why we haven't talked about it, but we will today. So we have some more information on it. So if you have been living under a rock and you have no idea what I'm even talking about, Carmelo Anthony, 17-year-old in Texas, from Texas, got into a argument with 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a school. They weren't at a school, but they were at a school sports function. And Carmelo Anthony was asked to leave the tent. Apparently they were in a tent. It started to rain, so they had a tent up for each of the teams, different teams from different schools. And Carmelo was in their tent, in Austin's team's tent. Austin then asked him to get out of the tent because you don't belong there, because you're not part of that team. Carmelo answer says he's not going to move. The police report is a couple of different things that they're saying, but the police report is saying that he put his hand on him. He said, "You're going to leave or leave. You'll make me leave or what? Or what are you going to do? Don't put your hands on me." And then he did anyways. Carmelo turns around and he stabbed him. And the stab was fatal. So that was it. And so the father of it's just that is just so crazy to me that a seat conflict that is what triggers you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This could have been a fight, but no. This ended in a whole different way. So anyways, Austin's father talks about, talks to the news about, his son. This is literally, I think, right after the incident happened. And I think he had just learned that his son had died, and he says on here that he was numb. That's why he was able to do this press conference or whatever it is he's doing, this interview. But yeah, stories like this are always very difficult, even like for me, because y'all know how close Kara and I are. We're very close. Kara and I are not twins. People usually think we are. We're not twins. I don't think we look anything alike, but we're not twins. But people often say that we finish each other's sentences. We finish each other's sentences and stuff like that. So I'm very close to Kara. So when I learned that Austin's Hunter, his brother's name, when Austin's brother Hunter held him while he was dying, that was a lot. I was like, oh my God. He sat there and just had his brother dying in his arms. And he's a twin.
Yeah.
It's
dying
just
in front of him.
That whole scene is just a lot. I mean, like, It's just I can't even imagine that. But anyways, so let's hear what this is right after this, what Austin's father said, and we'll kind of get into this.
Well, Jeff, take me through, as far as you know, the events of this morning. What happened? How did you get the call? How did you figure out what happened to your son?
Well, it started with a call from his football coach, who was not at the track meet, and said, I think Austin has been stabbed. And I said, where at? And he said, Kukendall Stadium. I said, I'm on my way. So I drove up there, went through a load of police officers, and was able to see my son on the gurney with a huge hole and blood all over him, and they were pumping him. He wasn't breathing, and his eyes were rolled back in his head. So I had to find his brother. They're twins. And so I found Hunter and tried to get him under control as best we could. And then I loaded him up in my car, and we drove to the hospital as quickly as possible. And we waited. And when the doctors came in and said that he didn't make it, it was tough. My son took it extremely hard. Mm-hmm. I'm still in shock, to be honest. I mean, I'm numb. So it really hasn't hit me. And I don't believe any parent should ever have to bury their child. And I pray that, maybe there's changes made as far as security or things like that. And maybe we can learn from this and try to turn a tragedy into something positive to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else's child. I don't want parents to feel like I feel today. So I've already forgiven the person who stabbed him. God's going to take care of everything. God's taking care of my son. I kissed him. When I kissed him goodbye for the last time, I told him it's not goodbye, it's see you later. So I just have to trust in God and my faith to pull us through. I don't understand his plan. We're all subject to trial and tribulations. God didn't say life was going to be fair or wasn't going to be hard, but he said he'll always be beside you and never leave your side. So we're going to lean deep into our faith.
Someone was immediately taken into custody. They know who did this. They are charging him with murder. I mean, how does that make you feel, that police immediately got this person?
First of all, I feel sorry for that individual, because he's now made a mistake that's going to cost him the rest of his life. The hard part that cost me is I lost my son, and his brother was holding him, trying to hold the blood in, and he passed. My son watched his brother die in his arms. I need a break. And for it to be taken away so senselessly, it's unfortunate for everyone involved. And I just hope it doesn't happen to anyone else. This world, there need to be changes, and it starts at home. So I don't know. I'm not judging. I'm just happen to say that try to be kind in this world. Teach your kids. It all starts at home. I know this world has changed. I'm old school, and it's a different world. It's unfortunate, but we all have to evolve. And if we all don't come together, black, white, yellow, brown, I don't care. It's all about human beings. We got to care about each other. We got to be kind to each other. You need to show compassion, show empathy, not anger, not rage. Teach your kids the right from wrong. And pray to God this doesn't happen to yours.
No. Do you have any questions for Jeff? No. Jeff, anything else you'd like to share?
No, I just pray for my family right now in this time. It's a very tough time. I'm not sure how we will get through it, but I know God will get us through it. And I'll have a hole that I will carry with me the rest of my life, unfortunately.
I want to play that all the way through, because I feel like some people were saying, how can he forgive, saying, under this video, like, how can he forgive the guy who stabbed his son to death? And the thing is that when you're a Christian person, that is, I think we were just watching Billy Graham, and he talks about this. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful, most beautiful things that you could, in the human language. That word is something that has to be done in order for you to be able to move on. Because if you harbor any anger, it does not help anything. It just makes it even worse. So the power of forgiveness, the reason why he has to do that is because he has to be able to understand that the incident is not right, but not forgiving means that that Carmelo's action is going to burden him. So you have to be able to release that. And that's why he's able to forgive. He clearly mentioned there as well that, this is not about black and white and all this. It's not that. It really does start at home. And he is correct about that. It does start at home. For this young man to his conflict resolution, to snap like that, and that be how you resolve something, or, there's something wrong with him. There's something wrong at home. It has to be.
And we know there's something wrong with this family because the representative that they had that was representing the guy who spoke
I'm not sure
at that thing where they were going to show, everything he's saying, there's something wrong with him.
Yeah, because
you have this man speaking for your family, and now we're finding out stuff about him. Yeah,
and there's something wrong. That's what shows me something wrong with the family, because they chose this man to represent them. So if that's who you want to represent you in this particular case, a violent person, a career criminal, so there is something wrong with mom and dad.
Yeah.
There has to be. There's no way.
And the whole reason for their press conference, because you're going to show their press conference.
Yeah.
And if there's a 2-parent home, why isn't there his father speaking? Right. Why did they throw his mother in front of the camera?
That man shouldn't be speaking at all.
Right. Because they want a woman to stand up there and cry, because they know that the evidence against their son
is overwhelming.
Is pretty bad. And these weren't mean white people. Obviously, his father has some kind of compassion, is not making it about race. And so they have to now look like victims. And so they put this moron representative to try to speak for them.
Yeah.
Again, this was not needed. You didn't need to do this.
So there's that. Now, another part of this is that his bail was originally set at $1 million. It got reduced down to $250,000, which is a huge jump down. But according to
but you only have to pay 10% of that, right?
Right.
So he's getting out.
Right. So the judge is saying that she lowered it because he's a first time. This would be a first time offender. She doesn't believe that he's a flight risk, and whatever. So he's like I guess it's hard to say, but an upstanding citizen, I guess you can say.
But we do know that he killed somebody.
Yeah.
So this isn't like we're trying to figure out if he did it. We know he did it.
Yes.
And by the way, any black person that comes in our comments and wants to be mad at us because we're not standing up for this nonsense, darn good and sure if this were reversed, and some white kid stabbed some black kid and he was somewhere he wasn't supposed to be, Al Sharpton be on this in a second. And everyone would be, I told you there was racism in America. You know what I mean? So I can't understand how this is even, I don't understand how this kid even raised money.
Right. Actually, I've seen videos of this where people are saying, black people are like, he should have kept his hands to himself. You know what? Maybe he should have kept his hands to himself. But does that constitute you stabbing someone in the heart?
Really?
Fatally stabbing someone? I think everyone should keep their hands to themselves. But I'm not going to go and stab you because I got a little ticked off at your rebuttal to my refusal to leave a seat.
And then to try to compare this to Kyle Rittenhouse and Daniel Penny.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Which they are going to try to do. Is nonsense because it's not the same at all.
Yeah.
I heard I was watching something the other day where these black people were, Kyle Rittenhouse killed 3 black people. Like, no, he didn't kill any black people.
Oh, God.
The 17-year-old boy was being chased by a mob. Someone pulled a gun out on him. And then someone beat the crap out of him with a skateboard. He had an entire mob against him, and all he had was a gun. So the whole idea, someone said they were going to kill him. Yeah. I mean, this kid was in danger.
Comparing him to Kyle Rittenhouse is just embarrassing.
That was self-defense. This
is a murder.
Is a murder.
Well,
right.
So at best, it's second-degree murder because was it premeditated? I don't know. I mean, did he want to go to that side to to kind of like bully or start an argument. I don't know. I mean, so the case
when
is
someone tells you to leave their space, and it's not your space, leave. And so many times, you know, a lot of people get killed simply because, and this is everybody, not just black people or white people or men or women. People don't know how to walk away.
Right.
They don't know how to just say, you know what, you ain't worth it. I'm out.
It's hard for them to walk away.
It's hard for people to walk away. People take stuff personally, and especially today, overly emotional.
Yeah.
Men and women walking around getting charged up because someone challenges them in any kind of way.
Yeah, we have a huge issue right now. Now, so the press conference happened. His father, Austin's father, got kicked. The family doesn't want him there. Now, this is a press conference, so it's open to the public. So he is allowed. He can be there if he wants to be there, but they didn't want him there. So they were asking him to leave. The police then asked him to go. The father was cool as a cucumber. He was like, I'm going to go ahead and leave. No problem. Told the cops, I know you're just doing your job, and I don't want to start no trouble. I just wanted to hear what was going on. If anyone deserves to be at that press conference, it is that father, in my opinion. If anyone deserves to be there, to hear what is happening there. But, okay. So anyways, they made him leave. He left, and then... genius.
I think they made him leave because they didn't want to have to look at him. Guilt.
Yeah, the guilt of it, yes,
the
too
guilt
much.
of looking at this man who lost their son because of their son.
Yeah.
I think they just didn't want to stare at them when they're about to stand up here and do some propaganda for you.
So let's hear what this spokesperson, I don't even know his name, I'll put it up here, but let's hear what he has to say, and it's bizarre.
Next Generation Action Network from the beginning has respected the loss of life. No matter our opinion of it, we have kept our opinion close. We have not attacked. We have not shared the information that was shared with us about Austin Metcalf, because we respect the dignity of life and loss. And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later, is that was disrespectful and just shows you all the character. He was not invited. He knows.
You don't have to be invited to a press conference. You don't have to be invited.
I mean, right there, that comment right there shows you something was wrong with this kid.
Yeah.
That he could fix his mouth to say that about a man who just lost his child.
Right. And so that, sir, shows me the character of you.
Yeah. And just like what we said before, they don't want to look at him while they sit here and try to throw some propaganda to get their son off.
Right.
That is inappropriate to be near this family. I want to start off this press conference to say something as a deep note that I can tell America. What we seen at the beginning of this press conference, the father being at this press conference, these are my words, don't quote anybody, is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. I'm trying to find how many of y'all have asked the superintendent or one single board of trustee, why didn't you cancel or postpone? With weather in that magnitude, you couldn't have a track meet in rain.
Wow.
This man just blamed the weather.
He just blamed the weather
and the school,
an act of God, and the school because they didn't cancel it. Because if they didn't cancel it, if they would have canceled it, then he wouldn't have killed this kid. Okay. When I say black people when they do this don't take any responsibility, how many times we say that when we talk about the black issues? We do not take responsibility, and that is our biggest problem with us. This guy is literally not taking responsibility. They're not taking responsibility that this kid took a knife out. They're blaming the weather. They're blaming the school board. They're blaming this kid's father for showing up.
So whenever it rains, I hope they put Carmel in the house.
Thunderstorm or clouds. Y'all are the media. Ask your journalists, your weather journalists, how the weather was that day and that time. Y'all do that research. Because as a person who is the administrator of yet children, you are responsible for the safety of the children. And so it seems as if Frisco ISD is trying to push this off. We've asked that Frisco do not make a decision in this situation. But Frisco ISD has notified of their intent to expel Carmelo Anthony from school 1 month before his high school graduation.
He stabbed somebody.
Right.
He carried a weapon.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's terrible.
You're kind of going to miss your graduation.
Right. He threw his life away 1 month before it started. He made a choice to do something based on the ignorance of the people I'm seeing right here that he's raised with.
Side note, he is doing what a lot of, or just people from jail do when they get out of jail. We've talked about this before. He's trying to use big words. He's trying to be articulate with those big words and trying to mash them all together to make it seem like he is some dignified, person that knows how to speak, public speaker. That's what he's trying to do right now. He's trying to appear intelligent.
Everybody tries to look like Martin Luther King.
Right.
The instant they do something wrong.
Whenever someone is trying to appear intelligent, that's already a red flag. Because I know that you're not intelligent. Because what you're doing right now is you're gaslighting everyone. And you're playing the victim. Once again, we see another black person being a victim. When there's an actual victim.
Because you know what's coming next. He's trying to set this all up so he can bring up the black stuff.
Yeah.
Black people have been dealing with this for years. This is the same platitude speech that every black person that is in trouble does as soon as they have to get up and talk in front of a camera. We've been dealing about it for years.
So what they're going to do going forward, and I can guarantee this, they're going to pull the O.J. Simpson and the Johnny Cochran thing. They're going to make this about race.
Yeah.
So they're going to pull that. You're trying to put a black man in jail again. You're trying to make blah, blah, blah. They're going to do that because that's worked for a long time, because, the OJ trial, it came down to the fact that he was black and it had nothing to do with it. It had nothing to do with it. So they're going to do the same thing and it's going to be sickening to watch.
Right.
Because they are going to do that.
That just shows me that Frisco ISD is trying to push off the blame. The Next Generation Action Network, outside of the legal process, will be going through different avenues regarding to ensure that we fight for the rights of Carmelo Anthony. Okay? So in the next coming days, we will be announcing to the public. We will do direct action outside of Frisco ISD administration office because this is outright wrong. You are getting involved in a process that even the legal process has asked us to respect. Because these racist bigots try to prevent us from standing up for our baby, our boy, he should be afforded the same rights that Kyle Rittenhouse had, Daniel Penna, and all of the people who have claimed whatever their defense was. He should be afforded the same right. Nobody in the public media has one video camera, but we got the video of Kyle Rittenhouse with an AK-47 shooting 3 people in the back. We got that. And he raised more than $2 million publicly, and nobody said anything. So since they tried to come for us, I call for the community's overwhelming support for this fund. The disinformation that was put out was literally deliberate to prevent you from helping this family.
You know what, though? Here's the thing, though, sir. The reason why Carmelo is going to get a lot of backlash is not just for the stabbing, although that's enough. It's because what Carmelo said, we're going by his account. This isn't really alleged. He did it. He said he did it. So if you think that we're going to be, like pulling out tears for a guy who would do such a heinous thing, you are really sadly mistaken.
They spoke to a lawyer.
It's really bad.
They know. You know what I mean? He's entitled to a case and a trial. You know what I mean? He's entitled to that. I'm 100% on that.
Innocent to proven guilty.
If you think that we're supposed to just go along,
to
get along, because
No.
Because what? Daniel Pena, who wasn't the only, it was a black man there also with Daniel Pena, and he was harassing other people who happened to be people of color.
Right.
They were all for Daniel.
Daniel Penny.
Right.
Saved
That was
people.
a much different situation. Which was, believe me, I lived in New York. If somebody would have did
talked
that,
about this.
To be honest with you. You know what I mean? It's just, this is just stupid.
It's almost sickening though. But what's making me sick is,
they're only putting her out here, by the way. They're only putting her out here because we feel sorry. They know that people don't feel sorry for criminals.
Right.
You know, where's his dad? Mm-hmm. Why is his father speaking?
Right.
No, they put his mother up there because they want the sympathy.
Yeah.
The public sympathy is what they want. And the money, because you're going to get more money coming to you if you got your mama out here crying.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just sorry. This is disgusting. This whole situation is disgusting. Humble yourself. That kid needs to say, I did something wrong.
Yeah.
And he needs to face that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We would I think people would have, if he came out and said he did it, and he said, I got in my pride, I got angry, and I did it, I think people would almost be like, wow.
Yeah. When your child does something like this, you have to tell them. You cannot protect them in the way of protecting their crime, and by way of making us feel sorry for him. You can't do that.
No.
That's not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny too, because the black community will be in arms when a white cop kills a black guy.
Oh.
When a black man gets killed by anyone white, whether it be a cop or not.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
They will be, oh my God, this is like slavery and Jim Crow all over again. Then they'll want to, protest all over the place. But then we still get that same energy when we kill.
Right. Okay.
Like we're still sending money when the person's the killer. This is why you always, even when it happened with George Floyd, I don't get, look, my feelings, I don't lose my emotions when black people get killed by the police anymore. Because every single time, I want to know more about what happened, because every single time that I believe it, like George Floyd, you find out all this other stuff that they just conveniently
Mike
didn't show
Brown,
you.
there was no hands up, don't shoot. There was never that never was a thing.
You know what I mean? It's just, you find out a lot of stuff right after this of what they were actually doing, what actually happened. That the media somehow wants black people to look like victims.
And that's what we're going to do.
And they'll paint it to look this way. And this is just a good example of it.
Okay, here's mom talking about, talking about her son and everything. So let's just listen.
The claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false. We have not received a single dime from the Give, Send, Go fundraiser. And the co-founder has stated that clearly. In the reality, we were just notified yesterday that we could begin to withdraw funds. And it still takes several days to receive those funds once a request. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to. He's been raised in a 2-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the laws of this state.
We put God first in everything we do. Did you give your son the memo? Because he didn't do something godly here.
And look at the black man behind her, wiping her tears.
Yeah.
Oh, like she can't do it herself.
Black women are the protected people right now. So, the media is always going to protect black women. They just say, no, that's it's okay.
But those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us.
I'm going to say this again, and this is for everybody. Black people in America, while the current occupant sits at 1600 Pennsylvania, black people in America don't have to pull the race card. It's what we live as a reality every day. It's what we have to teach our children. We don't want to, but we have to.
I'm fuming.
Did you really just
fuming.
say that?
I'm fuming.
I don't believe these people.
Yeah, you know
This
what?
is phony.
And he could have got away with a little bit of something had he not said that.
Not said that.
Actually, everything. But that, now I know. Now I know the agenda.
We don't have to pull a race card, but I'm about to pull the race card. It happens to us every day. I thought you didn't have to pull the race card. You just literally said 5 seconds before you then pull the race card.
Then you did it.
Phony, people. Phony. How can you complain when your son killed somebody?
This should be a whole
You should be
different-
so
no.
sorry. But you aren't.
You should stand by your son through his trial, but you should not in any way pull out this victim, feel sorry for me, all based on your son's crime.
Because what you're really thinking is this kid's dead and gone, and my kid still has to live.
And that's what you're
thinking.
There's something very, like, this is how I know something wrong with Carmelo. Because of this. See, this press conference just showed me all I needed to see.
What's wrong with Carmelo? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just
they're
showing all
trying
I
to
need to see.
protect their son's future.
Yeah.
Because they don't care, because this kid that, you know, what's his name? Austin?
Austin.
He's passed away. And what they're thinking is his life is over, but my son's life still goes. So we
Right.
have to make him look like a victim.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we have to play the race card. Johnny Cochran famously
That's what I'm
said
saying.
that about OJ. He said he told them, or Shapiro and Kardashian, that the only way you're gonna, he said, why haven't you pulled out the race card?
Yeah, when they brought,
that was when they won.
when they brought Johnny Cochran into that whole OJ situation, the original team of lawyers were really focusing on the stabbing, brutal death
evidence
of those two people and the evidence within the case, and they were losing. It wasn't looking good. So they brought Johnny in.
He said,
and then he was like, I see all the stuff that you're doing here, but why are we not talking about race? It's right in your face here. And he, as despicable as that is, he was right. So all of a sudden, we're not thinking about the stabbing deaths
of these two people.
No, now we're thinking about race. And so I'm bringing that up because of this. This is exactly what we're saying in the beginning. They are going to pull the OJ, the race card, because that's really all that Carmelo has to go on right now. If they can find a way to maneuver this into that, which is what they're doing, despicably doing in front of our face in real time, then they may have a fighting chance to get him lower time. Maybe. I don't know. They're also going to, when the police got on the scene of this situation, Carmelo said to the police, is he okay? Is the guy okay? That's what he said. So now I can guarantee you they're now going to use that part of Carmelo saying, is he okay, as showing that he had remorse. Watch, I'm just telling you this was going to happen.
And
just
the fact that he's 17, they'll put in factor that he's young. And, you know, but this is the thing, is that it's important that he does go to jail, because you do not want black kids to think that they can kill people. And because they're under 18, and because they have a side story about being black in America, they can now just kill people and not face jail.
Because they can,
you know what I mean?
It can literally get to that point.
It can get to that point. If they think that they can get off by saying certain things, then this is not good. I mean, I did see Carmelo Anthony go into his, you know, they showed a video of him going to his car. It's really the first time I really looked at him, because they had the camera in his face, and they were telling him how to act, you know, from the press to get to the car, you know, the place to the car. And I looked at that kid thinking, so sad, because he is truly a 17-year-old kid. I could see 17 in his face.
You know, so just because I know someone was saying that Austin was like racist or something, and so just so you know, just the facts that are out there, all the witnesses to this and Carmelo himself, there was no racist comments shouted at Carmelo during this particular event of what happened. So we can just go ahead and that didn't happen. Allegedly, I know maybe a video may come out. I don't know, right? But this is what we know right now.
But even if someone's racist, you don't have the right to kill someone because they disagree with you or they don't believe like you.
The solution to an argument is not to stab somebody. Why do you even have a knife?
I mean that's what I'm saying. I think that this press conference made him look worse. I think
that's everyone's saying that now.
I think it made it worse because I feel like instead of Carmelo is a young kid that did something stupid, like a lot of 17-year-olds do stupid stuff. They don't always kill people, but
you know, starting a little stuff.
We can say, he's like a lot of kids that the fight went too far and he killed somebody, which is horrible. You know what I mean? But then when you see the grown-ups come in without him, stand up there and act just as ignorant, pretending like they have no remorse for the fact that that this kid died, and they're at the hands of their son, and then sit there and try to then make his father look like he was inappropriate. The school board's inappropriate. Yeah. God made the wrong weather for the day, and you give him Trump because he's in the White House, and you gave no responsibility for yourself while you stood up there and talked.
He's going with the self-defense, right? And he's also, I've learned, is going to be doing the stand your ground. So he's saying that, you know, he felt threatened. He felt his life was threatened. And so he didn't know what this kid was going to do. So his knee-jerk reaction to protecting himself is to go and eliminate the threat, basically. And to him, I guess that means, I guess to resolve something to him would be to stab somebody. But he's saying he felt threatened. And so I don't know how you can feel.
He felt like he was going to get stabbed? With no knife?
Nobody had any weapons on them. It's what we know so far, is that no one had any weapons on them except for him. So if you're feeling threatened, and then you go and stab somebody, then I'm confused. The law clearly states that when you are in an altercation, and if it has to match, right? The action that's being put against you has to match.
The aggressiveness.
It has to match. If it does not match, then you're completely guilty. And so this is not something that makes sense. Okay, someone pulls your arm and tells you to leave a seat, and then your action is 1,000% aggressive to go and stab him.
But before he allegedly pulls your arm, they asked you to leave.
They asked you to leave. You didn't leave. You said, and what are you going to do?
So you are now the person that's starting trouble.
Yeah.
You were in a place that you weren't invited to. Someone asked you to leave. You didn't.
Yeah. All the black people.
And then your pride got ahead of you.
Yeah.
And now, you know, you're a civil rights lawyer and your criminal lawyer is telling your parents to get in front of a camera and a representative and play up he's just a kid.
Yeah.
You know, we're being, because she went on to say she was doxxed.
Yeah.
And we're being threatened. You know, now we're the victims, not the white kid.
Austin's family they got swatted. You know what swatted means, right? It's when someone calls in a fake attack of something, and then the SWAT team comes in. It's called getting swatted. So they got swatted a couple of days ago, where someone called the cops and said that this particular address, there's some type of stabbing going on and whatever. The cops came. This happens a lot with those gamers, those online live gamers. They get swatted sometimes, and while they're gaming, SWAT team will come in. It's like a hoax. It's just all like a hoax. It's a horrible thing that happens. But they did this to Austin's family a couple of days ago. So while she's saying that she's being harassed, this happened to them. Who harassed you? I don't even think anyone harassed you. What we do know is that they're on their side. They actually did get swatted.
Now the black community, because the statistics are black men have a kill, or they're only 6% of the country, but they're 50% of the homicides. Right. It looks true.
I just had this.
You know what I mean? And so now the black community is going to, because now it looks true. Yeah. We're going to fake send you money and pretend like now we're the victims.
Yeah.
We're not getting killed, but we're killing, but we're still the victim. I don't understand that. That's just stupid. That makes us look worse. And I don't.
Every time someone tries to dispute that stat, by the way, the stats on black men being violent, more violent than other, ethnicities, that stat is not fun to repeat.
Right.
Because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing and it's sad, but it is a fact. And so this situation is proving that stat. So anyone that says to me, oh, well, they're just exaggerating the numbers. No, I don't believe they are. Okay. I just don't believe that they are. Like Austin's father said in the beginning of this video, it starts at home. And I will always believe that. And we've talked about having 2-parent homes, very important. But what we've said in that same breath is it depends on the parents. It can't just be 2-parent home. It has to be 2 parents that are teaching their children right and wrong and giving them character.
Yeah, you have to be molested.
Yeah.
So that's not the point. The gold standard for raising kids is 2 parents.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that because you have a two parent, that both parents are, you know, they're you know, that they should be parents.
We're talking about values and character,
right?
And those are the things. If you cannot teach your children that, then you can go ahead and just forget the two parent.
No, there is no value or character, values or character because of we just saw the parent.
Yeah. And who they chose.
Now, these are the kind of people they hang around.
The guy that speaks for them, I'm sorry for his name again. I didn't even get his name. I don't care. But the guy who speaks for them, he has a whole lot. I'll put up here his rap sheet of things that he's done. I think as recently as 2019. I think he one of the worst things I think he did is he shook a 2-year-old child. He has a whole list of things that he's a career criminal, so I'm trying to say to you. And so I know whenever I see someone talk the way he did, I know
he's seen some courts in his life.
Who he is. I know who he is.
He's been on the other side of those bars before, or he's, you know what I mean? It's
not
like, you know, just I don't know, just I get tired of this whole.
It's just
I get tired of people not owning up to stuff in general. I'm not even talking about black people. I'm talking about in general.
In general,
I'm so sick of watching people get up in front of a camera and just not own up to anything. Just sitting there in their pride, trying to pretend like they don't make mistakes and that, you know, that they're the victim. You know what I mean? And then, you know, at the same time try to, you know, put themselves on some pedestal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I get sick of human beings doing that. And you know, it's happened like this because of social media and because people have a platform. They want to post all the time, and so people try to make themselves look like they're something that they're not. You know, and I just don't understand how you as a mother, and you know what happened, and you're sitting here and I know you love your son. I'm not saying you don't, but if you loved your son, you would make him own up to what he's done, and you wouldn't sit there and try to defend something that you know is really indefensible.
You have to face the consequences of what you've done.
If we saw some stuff and we said, "Oh, he got jumped by you know
the people in the tent,
15 men, and all he had was a knife, and that's why he did that," or someone pulled a gun on him. Okay, someone was beating him.
That's an active threat.
That's an active threat. Yeah. But if you're going to tell me that all this guy really did to you was this, or said some words to you. And I don't care let's just say he was racist.
Yeah.
Let's just get out of here, N-word. You don't get to kill someone for that. If you were to say it to someone, you don't get to lose your life because you have a point of view. Even if someone doesn't share that same point of view. If he potentially gets away with this, this is going to be a problem.
Well, it opens a door. The window, it's not even a window, it opens the entire door for people to go, oh, you know, I was scared. So let us know what you think about this. Leave some comments below. Sad situation.
It is.
Yeah, very sad. And see you guys in the next video.